I've been invisible for 3 months. That's the truth of working for someone like River Castellano. You learn to move through his world like air, present but unnoticed, essential but unseen. My hands organize schedules that determine million-dollar deals, screen calls from people whose names dominate headlines, and manage every detail of a life that operates at a level I've only ever observed from the outside. Castellano Industries headquarters rises 47 stories above Manhattan, all glass and steel and windows that overlook a city I can barely afford to live in. River Castellano himself is a shadow I've learned to predict. I hear his footsteps in the hallway, measured, deliberate, and know to have his coffee ready. I catch glimpses of him through glass walls, dark hair always perfectly styled, suits tailored so precisely they look painted on, and eyes the color of storm clouds that never quite land on me. He holds meetings in his corner office with men who speak in hushed tones about billions. I clean up after them, collect abandoned water bottles, file forgotten documents, reset the space to pristine emptiness. I don't ask questions. That's not my job. My job is to disappear. The only constant in this carefully ordered existence is Ivy. My best friend works 3 floors down in marketing, 26 years old with trust fund confidence and my mother's easy optimism. She brings overpriced lattes and office gossip. And every evening after our shifts end, we take the subway back to Brooklyn together. To the apartment we share in Bushwick, 2 bedrooms, thin walls, neighbors who blast music at 2 a.m., but it's ours. Well, rented, barely afforded. I work the extra shifts when they're offered because I need every dollar. Because $68,000 in student loans doesn't disappear on its own. Because my brother Marcus died 2 years ago investigating a story that should have made his career and instead got him killed. And the answers I need won't come from asking nicely. So I organize, I schedule, I anticipate needs before they're spoken. I accept overtime without complaint, because justice costs, and I'm willing to pay. Friday evening, the office clock reads 8:47 p.m. when I finally close my laptop. My shoulders ache from hunching over spreadsheets. My eyes burn from staring at screens. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I watch the city lights flicker like dying stars. You heading out? Ivy appears at my desk, pulling on her jacket. She smells like the peppermint tea she drinks obsessively and expensive perfume she can actually afford. Yeah, long week. She studies my face with the particular intensity only best friends can manage. You look exhausted. I'm fine. You always say that. She links her arm through mine as we walk toward the elevators. Movie night this weekend? I'll make popcorn if you're not working. Avery. Her voice carries gentle reproach. You can't keep doing 60-hour weeks forever. But I can. I have to. The next loan payment is due in 2 weeks, and I'm short by $400. Outside, November in New York, means darkness falls early, and cold bites through your jacket. We huddle on the subway platform, and Ivy pulls out her phone to check the train status. 6 minutes. Not terrible. She scrolls through her messages, then swears softly. Shit, Jake's having some crisis about his dissertation. He wants me to come over. Go, I tell her. I'll be fine. You sure? We can share a cab? It's 4 blocks to my place from the station. I've walked it 100 times. She hesitates, clearly torn between friend duty and boyfriend obligation. Text me when you get home? Promise. She kisses my cheek and heads for the taxi stand, leaving me alone on the platform. The train arrives 3 minutes later, packed with Friday night crowds heading to bars and parties and lives that don't revolve around debt and dead brothers. I get off at my stop in Bushwick. The neighborhood is transitional, meaning gentrifying, meaning expensive coffee shops next to bodegas that only take cash. Most storefronts are still open, their windows bright against the November darkness. 4 blocks. That's all it is. 4 blocks from the Morgan Avenue station to my apartment building. I've walked it hundreds of times, usually with Ivy, sometimes alone when our schedules don't align. The neighborhood is supposed to be safe, trendy, even. I pull my coat tighter against the wind and start walking. My sneakers are quiet on the pavement. Most people are inside eating dinner, starting their weekends, living normal lives. 3 blocks down, 1 to go. The alley appears on my right, narrow and dark between 2 buildings. I've passed it 1,000 times without thought, but tonight, something makes me glance toward it. 2 figures step out from the shadows, blocking the sidewalk ahead. I stop, heart suddenly hammering against my ribs. Evening, one of them says. White guy, maybe 35, with a shaved head and a leather jacket that looks too expensive for this neighborhood. His companion is taller, broader, silent. Evening. I manage, moving to step around them. The first man shifts, staying in my path. Where you headed in such a hurry? Home. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. Excuse me. Hold on now. He smiles, but it's not friendly. Just being neighborly, making conversation. The taller one moves behind me, cutting off retreat. My stomach drops. I don't want trouble, I say. No trouble. The first man holds up his hands, palms out. Just need your bag and that phone in your pocket. Nice and easy. My mind races through options. Scream, but who would hear over the traffic? Run, but where? Fight against two men twice my size? I pull my crossbody bag over my head with shaking hands and hold it out. He takes it, rifles through quickly, pockets my wallet. Then his eyes land on my shirt. My work blouse visible where my coat hangs open. Simple white button-down with the Castellano Industries logo embroidered discreetly on the collar. Wait a second. He steps closer, and I can smell cigarettes and something chemical on his breath. You work at that building, the big tower downtown. Fear spikes cold through my veins. No, don't lie. He grabs my collar, yanking me forward. I've seen that logo before. You work for Castellano, don't you? I don't know what you're talking about. He looks at his companion. She works for Castellano. The taller man's expression changes. Something dark crosses his features. I'm just an assistant, I say desperately. I don't know anything. I just answer phones. Please, just an assistant. The first man laughs, but it's ugly. Well, just an assistant. You're going to deliver a message for us. The first punch comes from nowhere, catching me across the cheekbone. Pain explodes white-hot behind my eyes, and I stagger backward. Before I can recover, hands grab my arms, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. I try to scream, but a palm clamps over my mouth. This is what happens, the first man says close to my ear. When people think they're untouchable, when rich boys like Castellano think they can operate in our territory without consequences. The second hit catches my ribs, then another, and another. I stop counting after the fourth. Stop trying to fight, just curl inward and pray for it to end. Someone grabs my hair, yanks my head back. I see the first man's fist coming toward my face before everything goes black. I don't know how long I'm unconscious. Could be seconds, could be minutes. If you're ready to hear the whole story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Because tomorrow, I will be giving you another story just as crazy as this one, and you don't want to miss it. Now let's get into it. When awareness returns, I'm lying on cold pavement. Every breath feels like knives in my side. My left eye won't open properly, swollen and throbbing. The metallic taste of blood fills my mouth. They're gone. My bag, my phone, my attackers, all vanished into the November night. I push myself to sitting, biting back a sob as my ribs protest. My hands are scraped raw, my jeans torn at the knee. Through my one working eye, I can see my apartment building ahead, its lights wavering like a mirage. Get up, move, get home. I'm trying to stand when I hear footsteps. Different from before, heavier, more deliberate, multiple sets. Terror floods through me. They're coming back. I try to crawl, to drag myself away, but my body won't cooperate. Everything hurts. Everything is screaming. Cristo. A man's voice, sharp with surprise. Not my attackers, someone else. I force my working eye open and see 3 figures approaching. Men in dark suits, expensive shoes. One of them crouches beside me, and through my blurred vision, I see a face that's all sharp angles and dark eyes. Call Enzo, he says to someone behind him. His voice is accented Italian, cultured. Tell him we need the clinic ready. Now. Boss, we should just... Now, Marco. Hands, gentle ones, touch my shoulder. Can you hear me? I try to answer, but only manage a sound that might be yes. Who did this? Not a casual question. Something deadly underneath. Don't. No. My voice is barely a whisper. He says something in rapid Italian. Then to me, I'm going to pick you up. It's going to hurt. I want to protest, to say I can walk, to maintain some dignity. But when he lifts me carefully, like I'm made of glass, the world tilts and darkness pulls me under again. I surface briefly in a car, leather seats, the smell of expensive cologne, voices speaking Italian in urgent tones. Castellano's assistant. In our territory. Boss, this is going to cause. Then nothing. The next time I wake, everything is white. White walls, white ceiling, white sheets. For a confused moment, I think I'm in a hospital. But hospitals don't smell like this antiseptic. Yes, but also something else. Something expensive. And hospitals have sounds, beeping machines, distant voices, the chaos of emergency rooms. This place is silent. I try to sit up, and pain lances through my ribs. A soft groan escapes before I can stop it. Don't move. A woman's voice, firm but not unkind. She appears at my bedside, late 50s, gray hair pulled back, wearing scrubs. You have 3 cracked ribs and a mild concussion. Moving is a bad idea. Where? My throat is desert dry. Where am I? Somewhere safe. She adjusts something on an IV I didn't realize was in my arm. Mr. Moretti wanted to make sure you were properly cared for. Moretti. The name doesn't mean anything to me, but the way she says it with a mixture of respect and caution suggests it should. I need to go home. I manage. My roommate will be worried. Your roommate has been contacted. She thinks you're staying with a colleague tonight. The nurse checks my pupils with a small flashlight. Which, technically, you are. I don't understand. You will. She caps the light and tucks it into her pocket. Mr. Moretti will want to speak with you when you're feeling better. For now, rest. You're safe here. She leaves before I can ask any more questions, the door closing with a soft click that somehow sounds like a lock engaging. I stare at the white ceiling, trying to piece together what happened. The attack, the men in suits, being carried. And now I'm in some private clinic, being treated by a nurse who reports to someone called Moretti. My body aches, my face throbs, and somewhere in this pristine, silent building, a man I've never met is deciding what to do with me. The journalist in me, the part that's Marcus's sister, that's been investigating River Castellano for 3 months, knows I should be terrified. But the part of me that's been beaten and left for dead in an alley feels something else entirely. Curiosity. Because men don't maintain private clinics for no reason. They don't order their people to save random assault victims out of the kindness of their hearts. Whoever Danilo Moretti is, he wanted me alive. Wanted me here. And I need to find out why. The door opens again. Not the nurse this time. The man who enters is tall, dark-haired, probably mid-30s. He's dressed in a charcoal suit that probably costs more than my annual rent, and he moves with the kind of controlled grace that suggests violence is never far from the surface. His eyes dark, calculating, missing nothing land on me. Miss Gray, he says, his accent placing him somewhere in northern Italy. I'm glad you're awake. We have much to discuss. He knows my name, and suddenly, I'm very awake indeed. I wake to the sound of raised voices. Not shouting, these men are too controlled for that. But there's an edge to the conversation happening somewhere beyond my door. Sharp, urgent, the kind of tone that precedes violence. The white room is darker now. Night has fallen, though I have no idea what time it is. My phone sits on the bedside table, but when I reach for it, pain lances through my ribs as a reminder of why I'm here. The voices grow clearer as footsteps approach. 3 locations, boss. All of them clean. Then you're not looking hard enough. That's Danilo's voice, colder than it was earlier. Cole doesn't just disappear. Someone's hiding him. We've put pressure on every contact he has. Pulled in his girlfriend, his dealer, even his fucking parole officer. Nobody's talking. Then make them talk louder. A pause. Then, how loud? Use your imagination, Marco. Just keep them breathing. The footsteps pass my door without stopping. I lie very still in the darkness, listening as their voices fade down the hallway. Then, carefully, I push myself upright. The IV is gone. Someone removed it while I was sleeping. My clothes are folded on a chair by the window, cleaned and pressed. Next to them, a glass of water and 2 white pills. I don't remember the nurse leaving. I stand slowly, testing my weight. Everything hurts, but it's manageable. The kind of pain you can function through if you're stubborn enough. And I've always been stubborn. The door isn't locked. I ease it open, peer into an empty hallway. Soft lighting, more white walls, the antiseptic smell of the clinic mixed with something else. Coffee, cigarette smoke, the particular scent of men who've been awake too long. I shouldn't explore. Should stay in my room like a good patient, wait for morning, accept the ride home Danilo promised. Instead, I step into the hallway. The clinic is larger than I expected. I pass several closed doors, other patient rooms, I assume, though I hear no sounds from within. At the end of the hall, the corridor opens into what looks like a waiting area. Leather couches, a coffee table with neat stacks of magazines, and beyond that, through a glass partition, an office. That's where the voices are coming from. I move closer, staying in the shadows, and peer through the glass. Danilo stands at a desk covered in photographs and documents, his jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up. 3 men surround him, the ones who must have carried me here last night. Marco, the one he'd called by name, is tall and lean with silver hair. The others are younger, harder looking. Albanians are claiming they had nothing to do with it, Marco says, gesturing at one of the photographs. Said Cole went rogue, acting on his own vendetta. Convenient. Danilo's voice is flat. And you believe them? I believe they're scared. We hit 2 of their warehouses in the last 6 hours. Recovered enough product to put half their crew away for decades. Marco taps another photo. They're offering to hand Cole over. Peace offering. And the girl? My breath catches. They're talking about me. Still here. Awake. Asking questions about going home. Danilo studies the photographs in silence. From where I'm standing, I can make out faces, my attackers, maybe. Other men I don't recognize. A map with locations marked in red. The assault wasn't random, he says finally. Someone wanted to send a message. Wanted me to find her, see the Castellano logo, make assumptions. Assumptions about what? That Castellano's expanding into our territory, using his people to gather intelligence, test our response times. Danilo picks up one of the photos, examines it. But it's too obvious, too clean. Castellano's smarter than that. So someone's trying to start a war between you and Castellano? Or distract us while they do something else? He drops the photo back on the desk. Either way, I want Cole. Alive. I want to know exactly who ordered that hit and why. And the girl? Marco asks again. What do we do with her? The silence that follows makes my heart hammer. Keep her here another day, Danilo says finally, until we understand what we're dealing with. If she's bait, I want to know who's fishing. I pull back from the glass before they can see me, pressing myself against the wall. My mind races through what I just heard. Warehouses raided. Product recovered. The Albanians, whoever they are, scared enough to offer up my attackers. Danilo Moretti isn't just investigating Ghost Protocol. He's running something. Something big enough to command raids and inspire fear. Something that makes men speak in coded language about keeping people breathing. I should be terrified. Instead, I'm fascinated. Miss Gray. I spin around, biting back a gasp of pain from my ribs. The nurse, the same one from earlier, stands in the hallway, arms crossed, expression somewhere between annoyed and amused. You should be resting. I needed water. The lie comes automatically. There's water in your room, along with pain medication you clearly didn't take. She gestures back toward my door. Come on. Before Mr. Moretti sees you wandering around like a ghost. I let her guide me back, but not before glancing once more toward the office. Through the glass, I see Danilo still bent over his desk, studying his evidence like a general planning a siege. And I realize something that should probably scare me more than it does. I'm not just caught between River Castellano and Danilo Moretti. I'm stuck in the middle of a war I don't fully understand. The nurse gives me the pills, actual pain medication this time, she assures me, not sedatives, and waits while I swallow them. Then she checks my vitals, replaces the bandage on my scraped palms, and tells me to sleep. Mr. Moretti has ordered breakfast for you tomorrow. Real food, not hospital food. You should be grateful. Should I? She pauses at the door, something almost like sympathy crossing her face. He's not what people say he is. Not entirely. Then she's gone. I lie in the darkness, listening to the building settle around me. Footsteps pass periodically. Voices murmur in Italian. Once, I hear what sounds like someone crying, quickly silenced. This isn't a clinic. Or it is, but it's something else too. A fortress. A command center. A place where Danilo Moretti conducts the kind of business that requires private doctors and soundproof rooms. The journalist in me, Marcus's sister, trained to ask questions and dig for truth, catalogs every detail. The layout. The security. The men who defer to Danilo with the kind of respect that comes from fear as much as loyalty. But another part of me, the part that's been beaten and rescued and told I'm already on someone's kill list, wonders what it would be like to have that kind of power. To make men disappear with a phone call. To raid warehouses and recover evidence the police can't touch. To inspire the kind of fear that makes entire organizations offer up their own people just to avoid your attention. I'm still thinking about it when my door opens again. Danilo slips inside, quiet as a shadow. He's changed dark jeans now, a black Henley that makes him look less corporate and more dangerous. He carries 2 cups of coffee, and when he sees I'm awake, he offers one. Couldn't sleep either? I accept the coffee, wrap my hands around the warm cup. Hard to sleep when your building sounds like a military operation. Fair. He pulls the chair closer to my bed and sits, cradling his own coffee. Sorry about that. It's been a busy night. I heard. Raids. Interrogations. Albanians offering peace. His eyebrow raises. You've been eavesdropping. You've been talking loud enough to hear. A ghost of a smile touches his lips. You remind me of someone. Another journalist who couldn't resist asking questions, poking into things that should have been left alone. The past tense makes my stomach tighten. Your brother? My brother. He takes a sip of coffee, stares at nothing. Antonio, 5 years younger than me, idealistic, believed the truth mattered more than safety. His jaw tightens. He was wrong. What happened to him? The silence that follows is answer enough. But after a long moment, Danilo speaks anyway. He found something. Evidence of a trafficking operation running through legitimate businesses. Ghost protocol, though, he didn't call it that yet. Just knew something was wrong. He sets his cup down. He came to me, asked for help, and I told him to drop it, to let it go. That some truths aren't worth dying for. But he didn't drop it. No. He published the first part of his investigation. And 3 days later, his car went off a bridge. Danilo's voice is carefully neutral, but I can hear the rage underneath. Brake lines cut. Security footage from the parking garage mysteriously corrupted. The police investigated for exactly 2 weeks before ruling it an accident. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be careful. He looks at me directly now. Because that's what happens to people who ask too many questions about ghost protocol. They end up in accidents, falls, car crashes, unexpected heart attacks. His dark eyes hold mine. Your brother knew that, but he kept investigating anyway, just like Antonio, just like you. I'm harder to kill. He says it matter-of-factly. I have resources they don't. Protection, leverage. But you, he gestures at my bandaged hands, my bruised face. You're vulnerable, alone, working a civilian job for a man who might be part of the problem. River Castellano didn't kill my brother. How do you know? Because he asked me the same questions you're asking. About ghost protocol, about who's investigating it. I shift in the bed, trying to find a position that doesn't hurt. I think he's looking for answers too. Danilo considers this. Or he's very good at playing innocent. Maybe. But his father died under suspicious circumstances 2 years ago, right around the same time as Marcus. That's not coincidence. No, it's not. He stands, moves to the window, stares out at whatever darkness lies beyond. Which is why I need you to be honest with me, Avery. What were you really doing at Castellano Industries Friday night? The use of my first name surprises me. Makes this feel less like an interrogation and more like a conversation between equals. I was trying to access River's computer, looking for files about his father's death, about the company's contracts, about anything that might explain what Marcus was investigating. Did you find anything? No. River came back before I could get past the password screen. And then he took me to dinner and told me his father was murdered. I meet Danilo's reflection in the window. He said if I wanted answers, I was looking in the wrong place. That the real evidence is in his father's old office. Danilo turns around slowly. Where? Red Hook. Some kind of warehouse or office space his father kept off the books. And you believed him? Didn't think it might be a trap? Of course I thought it might be a trap. But it's also the first real lead I've had in 3 months. I set down my coffee cup. Besides, what choice do I have? Keep playing assistant and hoping I stumble onto something? Wait for whoever killed Marcus to realize I'm asking questions and send someone to finish what those men started? You could walk away. Go back to your normal life. Let the dead stay buried. Could you? I challenge. If someone killed your brother and got away with it, could you just walk away? His expression hardens. No. Which is why I know exactly how dangerous this path is. He crosses back to my bedside. And why I'm going to make you an offer. What kind of offer? Work with me. Share what you find at Castellano Industries, and I'll share what I know about Ghost Protocol. We pool resources, watch each other's backs, and maybe we both get answers without ending up dead. And if I say no, then I drive you home tomorrow, and we never speak again. He leans against the wall, arms crossed. But those men who attacked you? They're just the beginning. Once word spreads that you're asking questions, you'll have a target on your back. Castellano can't protect you. His own security is compromised, or someone wouldn't have known to use you as bait. Your friend Ivy can't help you. You'll be alone. I've been alone before. Not like this. His voice softens slightly. Trust me, Avery. I know what it's like to investigate something that powerful people want buried. To lose people you love because you weren't strong enough to protect them. Don't make my mistakes. I study him in the dim light, this man who commands raids and inspires fear, who speaks of violence casually but saved my life anyway. There's something broken in him, I realize. Something that matches the broken thing in me. If I agree, I say slowly, I need guarantees. I'm not becoming an informant. I'm not betraying River Castellano unless I have proof he's involved. And I need access to whatever evidence you've collected about Ghost Protocol. Done. And I want to know what you are. Really. Not journalist's brother. Not concerned citizen. What you do that lets you raid warehouses and make criminals disappear. Danilo's smile is humorless. You know what I am, Avery? You're just hoping you're wrong. But I'm not wrong. I can see it in the way his men follow orders without question. In the casual mention of making people talk louder. In the private clinic and the coded conversations and the careful way he discusses violence like it's just another business tool. Danilo Moretti isn't investigating organized crime. He's running it. Your brother, I say carefully. The journalist. He was investigating you too, wasn't he? Among others. Antonio believed everyone deserved scrutiny, including family. Something painful crosses his face. He wasn't wrong, but you helped him anyway. I tried. Too late, as it turned out. He pushes off from the wall. So yes, Avery, I'm exactly what you think I am. And if that's a problem, tell me now before we go any further. I should say yes. Should tell him I can't work with a criminal, can't compromise myself that way. Marcus would have refused. Would have found another path. But Marcus is dead. And I'm alive only because this particular criminal pulled me out of an alley. It's not a problem, I hear myself say. As long as you understand, I'm looking for the truth. Wherever it leads. Even if it leads to you, I wouldn't expect anything less. He extends his hand. Partners? I shake it, his grip firm and warm. Partners. But I still want to go home tomorrow. Tomorrow night. After the city calms down. He moves toward the door. Right now, half the underworld thinks I'm starting a war with Castellano. Let me finish dealing with that before I put you back on the streets. Is that concern or control? Both. He pauses at the threshold. Get some rest, Avery. Monday morning, you go back to Castellano Industries. And this time, I'll make sure you have backup if things go wrong. Then he's gone, leaving me alone in the white room with a lukewarm coffee and a decision I'm not sure I should have made. But as I lie back down, ignoring the protest from my ribs, I think about Marcus. About his determination to expose the truth no matter the cost. About Antonio, the journalist who poked into things that should have been left alone. About all the people who've died asking questions about Ghost Protocol. And I realize something that should probably terrify me. I'm not just investigating anymore. I'm going to war. And Danilo Moretti just became my general. Danilo's mansion isn't what I expected. I'd pictured something ostentatious, marble columns, gold fixtures, the kind of tasteless luxury that screams new money and criminal enterprise. Instead, the car pulls up to a brownstone in Brooklyn Heights that looks like it belongs to an art collector or university professor. Ivy climbing the facade. Window boxes with actual flowers. A blue door that could be in a Nancy Meyers film. This is where you live? I ask as Marco opens my door. Disappointed? Danilo appears beside me, coffee in hand like it's a normal Sunday morning and not the aftermath of a citywide manhunt. I expected something more. Scarface. That's Staten Island. He says it so deadpan I almost laugh, which sends pain shooting through my ribs. Come on. You need rest, and the clinic isn't safe anymore. Why not? Because half the city knows I brought someone there Friday night, and the other half is trying to figure out who you are. He guides me toward the door with a hand that hovers near my elbow but doesn't quite touch. Here, you're just a guest. Anonymous. Inside, the brownstone is exactly as unexpected as the exterior. Hardwood floors, built-in bookshelves crammed with actual books, literature, history, what looks like an entire section of investigative journalism. A kitchen that smells like espresso, and something baking. An older woman appears from the kitchen, wiping flour from her hands. She takes one look at my face and launches into rapid Italian that I can only partially follow, but the gist is clear. What did you do to this poor girl? Nana, English, please. Danilo sounds exhausted. This is Avery. She's staying with us for a few days. Few days? Look at her face. She needs weeks, months maybe. His grandmother, because of course this crime lord has a grandmother, tease, and takes my hands gently. Come. I make you food. Real food, not hospital garbage. Before I can protest, I'm being ushered into the kitchen and deposited at a table that looks original to the house. Danilo follows, leaning against the counter with his coffee, something almost like amusement in his dark eyes. She doesn't speak much English, he says, but she understands everything. Fair warning. His grandmother returns with a plate of something that looks like pastry and smells like heaven. She sets it in front of me with a glass of fresh orange juice and another stream of Italian directed at her grandson. She says you're too thin, Danilo translates. and that I should be ashamed for letting a woman get hurt in my territory. I like her already. The pastry is incredible ricotta and honey and something else I can't identify but would kill for the recipe. His grandmother watches me eat with the satisfaction of someone whose love language is feeding people. She reminds me of my mother, I say quietly. Before she got sick, she used to make breakfast every Sunday. Nothing this good, but... I trail off, surprised by the sudden tightness in my throat. Danilo's expression softens. 4 years ago, cancer. I take another bite, using food as an excuse not to look at him. Marcus took it hard, threw himself into work, started investigating bigger stories, more dangerous people, I think. I pause. I think he was trying to outrun the grief. It doesn't work, Danilo says quietly. Running from it just means it catches you in the dark when you're not ready. His grandmother says something else in Italian, pats my hand, then leaves us alone with a meaningful look at her grandson that transcends language barriers. She likes you, Danilo says after she's gone. That's rare. What did she say just now? That you have sad eyes, and that I should be nice to you or she'll make me regret it. He refills my juice glass. My grandmother doesn't know what I do. Not really. She thinks I run legitimate businesses, import-export, consulting, that kind of thing. And she never asks questions? She's Italian. She knows exactly what I do. He sets down the juice pitcher. She just loves me anyway. There's something vulnerable in that admission. Something that doesn't fit with the man who ordered his people to make criminals talk louder just hours ago. The guest room is upstairs, he continues. Second door on the left. Bathroom attached. Everything you need should be there, but if not, just ask. Danilo. I have work to do. City doesn't stop burning just because I'm playing host. But his tone isn't harsh, just tired. Rest. I'll check on you later. He leaves before I can argue, and I'm alone in the kitchen of a Brooklyn brownstone that smells like home and feels like a trap I'm willingly walking into. The guest room is simple. Queen bed with white linens, a dresser, a window overlooking a small garden where his grandmother is tending tomato plants. On the dresser, someone has left clothes in my size soft cotton, nothing flashy, and next to them, my cracked phone and a note in precise handwriting. Password is changed. New one is Ghost Protocol 2023D. I pick up the phone, turn it over in my hands. He had his tech specialist go through it, knows everything I've been researching, every lead I've followed, every dead end I've hit, and he gave it back anyway. The password unlocks immediately. Everything is there, my photos, my notes, my carefully organized files about Marcus's investigation. But there's something new. A folder labeled simply, AP read this. Inside are documents, dozens of them, financial records, shipping manifests, coded communications, and a video file labeled Antonio, Final, Interview. My hands shake as I open it. The video shows a young man, mid-20s, dark hair, Danilo's eyes sitting in what looks like a coffee shop. He's talking to someone off camera, gesturing with the enthusiasm of someone who believes they're about to change the world. Trace the payments through 3 shell corporations. Antonio is saying, all leading back to the same source. It's not just trafficking, it's infrastructure. They're using legitimate businesses as cover for moving everything people, weapons, data, and the money. He shakes his head. The money goes everywhere. Politicians, police, corporate executives. It's bigger than I thought, Sophia. Way bigger. The woman behind the camera, Sophia, presumably asks something I can't hear. Ghost Protocol. That's what they call it internally. A system for moving illegal operations through legal channels. Untraceable, unstoppable. Antonio leans forward. But I found the crack. One shipment that doesn't match the manifest. If I can prove what was really in those containers, the video cuts off. I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the frozen image of Antonio's face. He looks so much like Danilo. Same intensity, same determination, same fate. I spend the next 3 hours going through the documents. Financial records showing payments from Castellano Industries to shell companies that don't quite exist. Shipping manifests with inconsistencies, weights that don't match contents, destinations that make no logistical sense, coded communications that reference packages and deliveries in ways that clearly aren't about legitimate business. And slowly, sickeningly, a picture emerges. Ghost Protocol isn't one organization, it's a network. A system that connects legitimate businesses with criminal enterprises so seamlessly that it's almost impossible to tell where one ends and the other begins. Money laundering, human trafficking, weapons smuggling, all hidden inside normal corporate operations. And Castellano Industries is part of it. Has been for years, according to these documents. Long before River inherited the company. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. How's the reading? D. I type back. You knew. About Castellano Industries. You knew all along. His response comes immediately. Yes. So this whole partnership thing was bullshit. You just wanted someone on the inside. The 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Then, I wanted someone who understood what we're up against. And yes, having someone inside Castellano helps. But that's not why I'm helping you. Then why? Because you remind me of my brother. And I failed him. I won't fail you too. I stare at the message, trying to reconcile the man who orders violence with the one who saves journalists because he couldn't save his brother. River didn't know. I type. About Ghost Protocol. He's investigating it too. His father tried to expose it and died. A longer pause this time. Then, or that's what he wants you to think. You don't know him. Neither do you. Not really. Be careful, Avery. Trust is a luxury neither of us can afford. I toss the phone onto the bed and move to the window. Below, Danilo's grandmother is still in the garden, talking to the tomato plants in Italian like they're old friends. Beyond the garden wall, Brooklyn stretches out normal life happening for normal people who don't know about Ghost Protocol, or dead journalists, or the invisible war being fought in their city. I should leave. Walk out the door, get on the subway, go back to my apartment and my civilian life. Forget about Marcus, about Ghost Protocol, about all of it. But I can't. Because somewhere in these documents is proof of what killed my brother. And I'm so close now I can taste it. Even if it means working with a criminal. Even if it means lying to River Castellano. Even if it means crossing lines I swore I'd never cross. That night, I dream of the alley. The rain. The footsteps. The moment I see my uniform and know something has shifted from robbery to message. The first punch. The second. The way the pavement felt against my cheek. Cold and wet and final. But in the dream, no one comes. No men in expensive suits. No Danilo Moretti pulling me from the darkness. Just me, and the rain, and the slow realization that I'm going to die here. I wake, gasping, pain flaring through my ribs as I try to sit up too fast. My shirt is soaked with sweat. My heart hammering so hard I think my cracked ribs might actually break. Breathe. Danilo's voice comes from the doorway. Slowly. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I follow his instructions without thinking, focusing on breathing until my heart rate slows. When I finally look up, he's leaning against the doorframe in sweatpants and a t-shirt, hair disheveled, looking more human than I've ever seen him. Sorry, I manage. Didn't mean to wake you. You didn't. I don't sleep much anymore. He moves into the room, keeping a careful distance. Nightmares? The attack. I swallow. I keep thinking about what would have happened if you hadn't found me. But I did find you. This time. But Marcus. My voice cracks. No one found Marcus. He died alone. And I wasn't there. And I don't even know if he was scared, or if he knew what was happening, or... Avery. Danilo crosses the room and sits on the edge of the bed, still maintaining space but close enough that I can feel his presence. You can't think like that. Can't replay all the ways you failed people you love. It'll eat you alive. Is that what you do? With Antonio? Every day. He says it simply, like it's a fact of life. Every single day I think about the moment he called me, asking for help, and how I told him to drop it. How I chose my own safety over his cause. His jaw tightens. So yes, I know exactly what you're feeling. And I'm telling you, you have to find a way to make peace with it, or it becomes all you are. Have you made peace with it? No, but I found a purpose. Finishing what he started. Making sure his death meant something. He looks at me directly. That's why I'm helping you. Not because I want an asset inside Castellano Industries. Because I know what it's like to lose someone to Ghost Protocol and spend every day after wondering if you could have saved them. Without thinking, I reach for his hand. He goes still, staring at my fingers wrapped around his wrist like I've done something shocking. Thank you, I whisper. For finding me. For not leaving me there. For a long moment, he doesn't move. Then, slowly, he turns his hand and squeezes mine. Brief. Warm. The first genuine human contact I've had in days that isn't medical or aggressive. In my world, he says quietly, curiosity kills faster than bullets. People who ask too many questions end up in rivers or alleys or conveniently timed accidents. His dark eyes hold mine. But I'm not going to stop you from digging. Because I've read your research. Seen how your mind works. You're close to something, Avery. Closer than Antonio ever got. Closer than your brother managed before they killed him. And when I find it, what happens then? Then we decide together what to do with it. He releases my hand and stands. But until then, you need to rest. Actually rest, not just lie here replaying trauma. Danilo. There's bourbon in the kitchen, bottom cabinet, left side. Sometimes that helps more than sleep. He moves toward the door. And tomorrow? We start planning. Because Monday morning, you're going back to Castellano Industries. And this time, we're going to make sure you get what you need without ending up dead. He's almost to the hallway when I call out. In your world, what happens to people who cross lines they shouldn't? Who work with criminals to expose other criminals? He pauses, silhouetted in the doorframe. They become something neither side trusts. Ghosts caught between worlds. He glances back. Is that going to be a problem? I think about Marcus. About justice. About the fact that the man offering to help me is probably as guilty as the people I'm trying to expose. About how much easier it would be if the world were simple. Good guys and bad guys. Black and white. But it's not. And I stopped being a good guy the moment I broke into River's office. No, I say finally. It's not a problem. Danilo nods once, then disappears into the darkness of the hallway, and I lie back down in the guest room of a criminal's house, surrounded by evidence of corporate conspiracy, and wonder exactly when I stopped caring about lines I shouldn't cross. The answer, I realize, is simple. The moment they killed my brother. Everything after that is just details. Monday morning arrives too fast. I stand in front of the guest room mirror, trying to make myself look like someone who belongs at Castellano Industries. The bruises on my face have faded from violent purple to sickly yellow-green, still visible, but coverable with enough concealer. My ribs protest every breath, but I can move without limping now. I look like someone who survived something, which, I suppose, is accurate. My phone buzzes. Danilo. Car's waiting. Marco will drop you 2 blocks from the building. Anyone asks about your face, tell them you had a bike accident. I type back. A bike accident that gave me bruised ribs and a split lip? You're a terrible cyclist. Despite everything, I almost smile. Then I see the second message. Be careful today. And Avery? Don't trust anyone, not even Castellano. The drive into Manhattan is quiet. Marco doesn't speak, just navigates through morning traffic with the efficiency of someone who knows every shortcut in the city. When he pulls over 2 blocks from Castellano Industries, he finally breaks his silence. Boss wants you to check in every 2 hours. Text. Nothing fancy. Just let us know you're okay. I'll be fine. It's just an office. So was the street where they jumped you. His eyes meet mine in the rearview mirror. Every 2 hours, Miss Gray. I nod and slip out of the car. The Castellano Industries lobby is exactly as I left it, all glass and steel and people in expensive suits moving with purpose. I swipe my keycard, half expecting it not to work, but the turnstile releases with a soft beep, and I'm in. The elevator ride to the 47th floor feels endless. When the doors finally open, I see Ivy already at her desk 3 floors down. No, wait, wrong floor. My desk, my floor, my carefully constructed civilian life. And sitting at my desk, going through my files, is River Castellano. He looks up when I approach, and something flickers across his face. Concern, maybe, or calculation. It's hard to tell with River. Avery. He stands. I wasn't sure you'd come back. Bike accident. Nothing serious. The lie comes easily now. Sorry, I didn't call in. Lost my phone for a few days. Bike accident. He repeats it slowly, like he's testing the words. Then he gestures at my desk. We need to talk. My office. It's not a request. I follow him past my desk where I can see he's been through my drawers, my files, everything into his corner office. He closes the door behind us and activates some kind of privacy screen that makes the glass walls frost over. Sit, he says. River. Sit, please. I sink into one of his leather chairs, every instinct screaming that something has shifted. River doesn't pace. He moves to his desk and pulls out a folder, my folder, the one I kept hidden in my locked drawer, and drops it in front of me. Want to explain this? My stomach drops. Inside are copies of everything I've been researching. Marcus's notes, corporate filings, questions about his father's death, all of it. I can explain. You've been investigating me since the day you started. His voice is carefully controlled. Everything from my father's business dealings to my personal finances. You even pulled security footage from the night he died. Your father was murdered. So was my brother. They were both investigating Ghost Protocol. I know what Ghost Protocol is, Avery. Or should I call you by your real name? Avery Gray, sister of Marcus Gray, investigative journalist who died 2 years ago falling from his apartment balcony. River leans against his desk. You want to know what's interesting? Someone sent me these files this morning, anonymously, with a note suggesting you might not be who you claim to be. The room tilts. Someone sent you, which means either you got sloppy, or someone wants me to know you're investigating me. His gray eyes are storm dark, so I'm going to ask you directly. Are you working with the police, FBI, or someone else? I'm working alone. Try again. I am. I took this job to find out what happened to Marcus. That's it. And the reason you stayed late Friday night? The reason you were in my office? There's no point lying anymore. I was trying to access your computer, looking for anything that might explain Ghost Protocol. Anything that might prove your father and my brother were killed by the same people. River stares at me for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, he laughs. It's not a happy sound. You're either very brave or very stupid. He opens another drawer, pulls out a bottle of whiskey, and pours 2 glasses without asking if I want one. Someone's playing us, Avery. Both of us. Someone wanted you to investigate me, and now someone wants me to know about it. What are you talking about? He slides one of the glasses across the desk to me. Friday night, I took you to my father's office in Red Hook. You saw the evidence wall, the investigation he was building. What you didn't see was what I found Saturday morning. He pulls out his phone, swipes through photos, then turns it toward me. The evidence wall from Red Hook. Except now it's destroyed. Photographs torn down, documents shredded, red paint sprayed across the whiteboards in angry slashes that spell out 2 words. Stop looking. Someone knew we were there, River says quietly. Someone followed us, waited until we left, and destroyed 2 years of my father's work. My hands shake as I take the phone, zooming in on the destruction. When did you find this? Saturday, 10 a.m. I went back to photograph everything properly, document what my father had collected. He takes a long drink of whiskey. Instead I found this. And a corpse. What? Someone, probably whoever trashed the place, left a body. Male, mid-30s. Single gunshot to the head. No ID, no wallet, nothing. His jaw tightens, but he had this in his pocket. River pulls out a plastic evidence bag. He kept evidence from a crime scene, I realize, with a chill containing a photograph. Blurry. Taken from a distance, but clearly showing River and me entering the Red Hook building Friday night. Someone's watching us, I whisper. Someone's playing us. Making sure we suspect each other, focus on the wrong enemies while they clean up evidence. He takes the photo back. So I'm going to ask you one more time, Avery. Who else knows you're investigating Ghost Protocol? I think about Danilo, about the documents on my phone, about spending the weekend in a criminal's house, going through his dead brother's files. Just me. I lie. And Ivy, but she doesn't know details. Just that I'm looking into Marcus's death. River studies me like he's trying to read truth in the spaces between my words. You're lying. But I don't know about what yet. He finishes his whiskey. Here's what I know for certain. My father discovered something massive. Something worth killing to protect. Your brother was close to exposing it when he died. And now someone is very interested in making sure we don't finish what they started. So what do? We stop playing nice. He leans forward. No more pretending you're just my assistant. No more sneaking around my office after hours. You want to investigate? Fine. I'll give you access to everything: my father's files, company records, financial documents, all of it. Why would you do that? Because I'm tired of fighting this alone. Because my father died trying to expose Ghost Protocol, and I'll be damned if I let his death be for nothing. His expression hardens. And because whoever sent me your files this morning made a mistake. They assumed I'd fire you. Maybe have you arrested. Instead, they showed me I've been looking in the wrong direction. What direction should we be looking? Inside. At people I trust. People with access to my father's office. To company systems. To. He trails off. Something clicking into place. To my personal security. You think someone in your organization is the mole? I think someone has been feeding information to Ghost Protocol for years. How else would they have known about my father's investigation? About where he kept his evidence? River stands, moves to the window. We need to find them. Fast. Before they realize we're working together instead of against each other. I should tell him about Danilo. About the documents I've seen. About the fact that I'm not just investigating anymore. I'm actively working with organized crime to expose corporate conspiracy. But something stops me. Maybe it's Danilo's warning. Don't trust anyone. Not even Castellano. Maybe it's the fact that River's security is compromised, which means anything I tell him might get back to Ghost Protocol. Or maybe I've just gotten too good at lying. Okay, I say instead. Where do we start? I'm back at my desk 2 hours later, sorting through files River gave me access to, when my phone buzzes. Danilo. Status check. Me. Fine. At work. River knows I was investigating him. The response comes immediately. And you're still alive? Me. He's working with me now. Says someone sent him my research files anonymously. A longer pause. Then, that's interesting, because someone sent me something this morning too. He includes a photo. It shows financial documents, corporate records from Castellano Industries. Except they've been altered. Payments that never happened. Shipments that don't match reality. Evidence that makes it look like River Castellano is actively running Ghost Protocol operations, not investigating them. And in the corner of each document, barely visible, is a digital signature. A timestamp. From my work computer, someone's framing both of us. I type quickly. Making it look like I'm helping River run Ghost Protocol instead of exposing it. Yes. Which means someone knows you're investigating, knows you're working with me, and wants us to turn on each other. Who would know both those things? Someone close to both of us. Someone with access to your files and my operations. My mind races through possibilities. Marco? No. He's been with Danilo for years. The tech specialist who went through my phone? Maybe. But why? Then it hits me. Does your organization do business with Castellano Industries? Not directly. But we share. Certain infrastructure. Shipping routes. Import contacts. The kind of thing that looks legitimate on paper. So someone could have access to both organizations. Someone who facilitates that infrastructure. Now you're thinking like a criminal. There's a pause. I'm sending a car. 6 p.m. We need to talk in person. I can't just leave. 6 p.m. Avery, this is bigger than we thought. And if I'm right about who the mole is, you're in more danger than either of us realized. The messages stop. I stare at my screen, trying to focus on the files River gave me. But my mind keeps circling back to the same question. Who has access to both River's world and Danilo's? Who would benefit from keeping Ghost Protocol hidden? Who? Hey. Ivy appears at my desk, and I nearly jump out of my skin. Whoa, sorry. Didn't mean to startle you. It's fine. Just focused on work. She studies my face, taking in the fading bruises. Bike accident, huh? Yeah. I'm a terrible cyclist, apparently. Avery. She lowers her voice. I've known you for 8 years. I know when you're lying. She glances around, then pulls her chair closer. Whatever you're involved in, whatever this is really about, be careful, okay? I am being careful. Are you? Because you look like someone beat the shit out of you. You disappeared all weekend, and now you're back at work looking at files like they're going to explode. Her blue eyes are serious. I'm worried about you. For a moment, I want to tell her everything. About Marcus, about Ghost Protocol, about the fact that I'm caught between a tech mogul and a crime lord, both investigating the same conspiracy. But Danilo's words echo in my head. Don't trust anyone. I'm okay, I say instead. Just dealing with some personal stuff. But thank you. For worrying. She doesn't look convinced, but she nods and heads back to her floor. I watch her go, and something uncomfortable twists in my chest. Ivy knows I'm investigating something. She's been my alibi, my cover, my friend through all of this. Ivy, who works in marketing, who has access to company files, who knows people across multiple departments. Ivy, who knew I was working late Friday night, who knew I was walking home alone. No, that's paranoia talking. Ivy would never. My phone buzzes again. Unknown number. We found him. Cole, the one who attacked you. Thought you might want to be there when we ask him questions. Another text. Car's coming early. 5 minutes. Don't keep the boss waiting. I stare at the messages, my heart racing. This is it. The moment when I stop being the victim and start being something else. Something that crosses lines. Something that works with criminals to get justice. Something Marcus would probably hate. But Marcus is dead. And I'm not. I grab my bag and head for the elevators, leaving a note on my desk that I'll see River tomorrow. Some excuse about a doctor's appointment for my injuries. As I step into the waiting car, I text Danilo. On my way. And Danilo? Thanks. For finding him. His response comes as we pull into traffic. Don't thank me yet. You might not like what you find. I watch Manhattan blur past the window and wonder when exactly I stopped caring about becoming someone I don't recognize. The answer, like always, is simple. The moment they killed my brother. Everything else is just details. The car takes me to Red Hook. Not to River's father's destroyed office, but to a warehouse 3 blocks south. Unmarked building. No windows. The kind of place that doesn't exist on any official map. Marco meets me at a side door, his expression unreadable. Boss is waiting. Fair warning, what you're about to see isn't pretty. I can handle it. Can you? He studies me for a moment. Most people can't, even people who think they're ready. He leads me through a maze of hallways, concrete floors, industrial lighting, the smell of rust and something chemical I don't want to identify. We pass rooms with closed doors. I hear voices from some, music from others, nothing from most. At the end of a hallway, Marco stops at a heavy steel door. Last chance to change your mind. I'm not changing my mind. He nods once and opens the door. The room beyond is stark. White walls, concrete floor. A single chair bolted to the ground, and in it, zip-tied and bleeding from a split lip, is one of the men who attacked me. The shorter one, shaved head, thin jacket. The one who saw my uniform and decided I needed to deliver a message. Standing behind him, arms crossed, expression carved from ice, is Danilo. Avery. He doesn't look away from his prisoner. Thank you for coming. I thought you might want to hear this. The man in the chair, Cole, I remember, spits blood on the floor. I already told you. I don't know nothing. We got hired for a job. That's it. A job that involved beating a woman half to death in my territory. Danilo's voice is conversational, almost pleasant, which somehow makes it more terrifying. That's not random violence, Cole. That's a message. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Who hired you? Man, I don't. Danilo moves. Fast. Precise. His hand connects with the side of Cole's head. Not a punch exactly. More like a surgical strike designed for maximum pain with minimum visible damage. Cole screams. I should look away. Should be horrified. Instead, I'm cataloging details like the journalist I was trained to be. The way Danilo controls his strength. The calculated nature of the violence. This isn't rage. It's methodology. Let's try this differently. Danilo pulls up a second chair and sits facing Cole. Close enough that their knees almost touch. You have a girlfriend. Melissa Torres. Works at the Target in Queens. Lives on Steinway Street with her mother and 2 kids from a previous relationship. Cole's eyes widen. You leave them alone. I haven't touched them. Yet. Danilo leans back, casual. But I could. One phone call, and Melissa and those kids disappear. Not killed. I'm not a monster. Just relocated. Somewhere you'll never find them. Somewhere they'll spend the rest of their lives wondering why you abandoned them. You're bluffing. Am I? Danilo pulls out his phone, starts scrolling. Melissa works Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 5, takes the N train, stops at the bodega on 36th Street every Thursday to buy lottery tickets. The kids, Emma, 7, and Jose, 5, go to PS 122. Emma has asthma. Jose is allergic to peanuts. He looks up. Want me to keep going? The color drains from Cole's face. Jesus Christ. Not quite, but I appreciate the comparison. Danilo pockets his phone. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell me who hired you. You're going to tell me exactly what they told you to do. And if I believe you, if you convince me you're being honest, Melissa and those kids stay safe. You go to prison for assault, but your family stays whole. And if I don't talk, then I make sure you spend the next 20 years knowing they're out there somewhere, hating you for leaving, and you can't do anything about it because you chose to protect the wrong people. Danilo's voice drops. Your choice, Cole. Family or employers, but choose fast. My patience has limits. The silence that follows is suffocating. I can hear Cole breathing shallow, panicked. Can see him weighing his options, calculating odds, trying to find a way out that doesn't exist. Finally. Okay. Just promise me they'll be safe. You have my word. Which, despite what you might think, actually means something. Cole slumps in the chair. We got hired through a middleman. Some guy named Victor. Russian, maybe Ukrainian. Works out of Brighton Beach. Viktor Kozlov. Yeah, that's him. He said he had a job. Easy money. Just rough up some girl. Make sure she knows she's not welcome in certain neighborhoods. Cole's eyes flicked to me. Didn't say why. Just said to make it hurt. And when you saw her uniform? That wasn't part of the job. That was... He swallows. That was Tony. My partner. He got excited when he saw she worked for Castellano. Started talking about sending messages, making examples. I just went along with it. Where's Tony now? Dead. Someone shot him Sunday night. Found him in his apartment with 2 bullets in his chest. I see Danilo's jaw tighten infinitesimally. Someone cleaning up loose ends. Look, I'm telling you everything I know. Victor hired us. We were supposed to scare her. That's it. Then Tony saw the logo and went crazy, and now he's dead and I'm here and… His voice cracks. Please, I got kids to think about. Melissa's kids. But I love them like they're mine. Just let me make sure they're okay. Danilo stands slowly. Marco, call Brighton Beach. Tell Victor we need to have a conversation about employee management. Already on it, boss. And Cole? Danilo looks down at the man in the chair. You're going to stay here while we verify your story. If it checks out, you'll be transferred to NYPD custody tomorrow morning. Anonymous tip about an assault suspect. You'll do time, but your family stays safe. Thank you. Thank you. But if you lied to me about anything, if any detail doesn't match, I'll know. And my promise about Melissa and the kids expires the moment you bullshit me. Danilo moves toward the door. Marco, make him comfortable. As comfortable as zip tied to a chair gets. Anyway, he's almost out when Cole calls after him. Wait, there was something else. Something Victor said when he hired us. Danilo pauses. What? He said the job came from someone big. Someone who wanted to send a message to both you and Castellano. To show you that your territory isn't as protected as you think. Cole's voice drops. He said it came from LaCourte. The temperature in the room drops 20 degrees. Say that again. Danilo's voice is deadly quiet. LaCourte. That's what Victor said. The court. Some kind of organization that… The gunshot is deafening in the confined space. I scream can't help it as Cole's head snaps back. Blood. So much blood. Spattering the white walls, pooling on the concrete floor. Danilo lowers his gun calmly, like he just swatted a fly instead of executing a man. He turns to Marco. Clean this up, make it disappear, and find Victor Kozlov. I don't care if you have to tear Brighton Beach apart brick by brick. Boss. Now Marco. Marco nods once and pulls out his phone, already making calls. Danilo crosses to me, and I realize I'm shaking. Not from fear exactly, from something more complicated, something that feels like adrenaline and horror and a terrible, awful sense of justice. Come on. He touches my elbow gently, the same controlled precision he used to hit Cole, now redirected to guidance. Let's get you out of here. I let him lead me back through the maze of hallways, past the closed doors, out into the cold November night. The fresh air hits my lungs, and suddenly I'm gasping, hands on my knees, trying not to vomit. Breathe, Danilo says quietly. In through your nose, out through your mouth. You know how to do this. You killed him. My voice sounds distant, like it's coming from underwater. He was cooperating. He told you what you wanted to know. And you just… He mentioned LaCourte, which means he knew more than he should, which means he was either lying about being a low-level hired gun, or he's been compromised. Danilo lights a cigarette I didn't know he smoked and takes a long drag. Either way, he was a liability I couldn't afford. You promised him. You said if he talked, his family would be safe. And they will be. I keep my promises. He offers me the cigarette. I take it without thinking. Let the nicotine burn through my system. Cole goes into the books as missing. No body, no crime, no reason for anyone to target Melissa and those kids. They're safer with him dead than alive. That's twisted logic. It's survival logic. The kind you learn when you operate in a world where loose ends get people killed. He takes the cigarette back. LaCourte isn't just another criminal organization, Avery. They're the ones who run Ghost Protocol. The puppet masters behind everything your brother was investigating. My head snaps up. You knew? This whole time, you knew who was behind it. I suspected, but I couldn't prove it. LaCourte operates in shadows. No one knows who runs it. No one knows how many members it has. Just that they're everywhere: politics, business, law enforcement. He drops the cigarette and grinds it under his heel. And they don't tolerate investigation, which is why Antonio died, why Marcus died, why my father tried to warn me before his car went off that bridge. Your father was investigating them too? My father was one of them, until he tried to get out. Danilo's voice is flat. That's how I know LaCourte doesn't forgive, doesn't forget, and definitely doesn't let people walk away. The pieces start clicking together. So the attack on me was them using you to get to me. They knew I'd find you, knew I'd see the Castellano logo and make assumptions. They wanted to start a war between me and River, keep us focused on each other while they covered their tracks. He turns to face me fully. But that's not the whole truth. What do you mean? I mean, someone told them you were investigating. Someone close to you. Someone who knew you worked for Castellano, knew your schedule, knew you'd be walking alone that night. His dark eyes hold mine. Someone set you up, Avery. And they did it from inside your circle. My mind immediately goes to Ivy. No, I don't believe that. Belief is a luxury. Evidence is what matters. He pulls out his phone, shows me a series of texts. Unknown number to Victor Kozlov. Timestamp from Thursday afternoon, hours before I was attacked. Target is Avery Gray. 5'6", dark hair, works for Castellano. We'll be walking from office to Morgan Ave station around 9 p.m. Make it memorable. The response? Understood. How memorable? Hospital memorable. Not dead. We need her functional. My blood runs cold. Who sent that? I don't know yet. The number's a burner, routed through 3 different servers. But my tech specialist is working on it. He pockets the phone. Someone wanted you hurt but alive. Wanted you to lead me somewhere, or learn something, or... He trails off. I haven't figured out the endgame yet. You think I'm being used. I think we're both being used. The question is by who and for what purpose. We stand in the cold night air, 2 people caught in a conspiracy neither of us fully understands, trying to figure out who to trust when everyone might be compromised. I should go home, I say finally. Process this. Figure out next steps. Not yet. Danilo's hand catches my wrist, not rough, but firm. You can't go back to your apartment. If someone in your circle set you up once, they know where you live. Know your routine. So what? I just hide in your brownstone forever? Until we find out who betrayed you? Yes. His grip softens but doesn't release. I know this isn't what you signed up for. I know you're terrified and confused and probably regretting every decision that led you here. But Avery... He waits until I look at him. Those men beat you because someone told them to. Someone who knows you. Someone you probably trust. Until we find them, you're not safe anywhere except with me. The horrible truth is, he's right. I watched him execute a man tonight without hesitation. Saw the cold precision with which he operates. The calculated violence that comes as naturally to him as breathing. And somehow, standing next to him in a Red Hook alleyway, I feel safer than I have in months. Which says something deeply disturbing about who I'm becoming. Okay, I whisper. I'll stay. But Danilo, no more secrets. If you know something about Marcus, about Ghost Protocol, about any of this, you tell me. All of it. Deal. And you do the same. No more playing both sides. No more feeding information to Castellano without telling me. I'm not. You are. I can see it in the way you hesitate before answering questions, the way you check your phone constantly. His thumb brushes against my pulse point. Can he feel how fast my heart is racing? I'm not asking you to choose between me and him yet, but eventually, you'll have to. Because this ends with one of us dead, Avery, and I'd prefer it not be me. He releases my wrist and starts walking toward the waiting car. I follow, my mind spinning with everything I've witnessed tonight. Cole's execution, LaCourte's involvement, the text messages proving someone set me up, and underneath it all, a question I can't stop asking. When did I start feeling safe around a man who kills people as casually as checking his email? The answer terrifies me more than any of the violence I've witnessed. Because somewhere between the clinic and the brownstone and tonight's interrogation, I stopped seeing Danilo Moretti as a monster I was forced to work with, and started seeing him as the only person who might actually keep me alive. I can't sleep. It's 3 a.m, and I'm sitting in Danilo's study, surrounded by documents I've spent the last 6 hours analyzing. Financial records, communication logs, security footage, timestamps, the pieces of a puzzle that's been staring at us both in the face, Antonio's files, Marcus's notes, River's father's investigation. They all pointed to Ghost Protocol as this massive external threat, some shadowy organization pulling strings from the darkness. But what if we've been looking in the wrong direction? What if the snake isn't outside the garden? What if it's been coiled around the tree the whole time? My laptop screen glows in the darkness, showing a spreadsheet I've built correlating dates and events. The 15th of March 2023. Antonio meets with source about Ghost Protocol. The 16th of March 2023. Enzo Ricci travels to Miami. Company records. The 18th of March 2023. Antonio's car accident. The 3rd of June 2023. River's father schedules meeting with federal investigators. The 4th of June 2023. Enzo Ricci spotted at Castellano Industries. Security footage. The 5th of June 2023. River's father falls downstairs. The 12th of September 2023. Marcus sends final email about breakthrough in investigation. The 13th of September 2023. Enzo Ricci makes unexplained trip to Marcus's neighborhood. September 14, 2023. Marcus Dies. The pattern is there. Subtle. Almost invisible unless you know what you're looking for. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Enzo Ricci, Danilo's right-hand man. His trusted advisor for 15 years. The man who sits at his right during meetings. Who has access to everything: operations, finances, security protocols. The man who knew I was investigating before anyone else did. I pull up the text message again, the one that was sent to Viktor Kozlov, ordering my attack. My tech-savvy friend from college spent all day tracing the routing. She couldn't get the original number, but she found something else. The message originated from a cell tower 3 blocks from Danilo's primary warehouse, the same warehouse where Enzo keeps an office. I keep digging. Bank records I probably shouldn't have access to. Thank you, Danilo's tech specialist who left his laptop unlocked. Enzo's accounts show regular deposits, large ones, from shell companies that, when I trace them back, connect to businesses linked to Ghost Protocol. He's been selling information for years, feeding Danilo's enemies intel about operations, shipments, vulnerabilities. And when Antonio started investigating, when Marcus got close, when River's father began asking questions, Enzo made sure they didn't live long enough to connect the dots. The study door opens. I don't look up, too focused on the final piece of evidence I'm compiling. It's 3 a.m. Danilo's voice is rough with sleep. What are you doing? Working. Avery. Come here. I need to show you something. He crosses to the desk, and I can feel his presence behind me. Smell the cedar of his cologne mixed with something warmer. For a moment, I let myself acknowledge what I've been avoiding. The way my pulse kicks up when he's near. The way I've started to notice details: the scar on his jaw, the silver in his hair, the way his hands move with that same controlled precision, whether he's pouring coffee or executing someone. Focus. This is more important than whatever complicated feelings are developing. What am I looking at? He asks. I turn the laptop toward him. A timeline. Every major incident in the Ghost Protocol investigation over the past 2 years. Antonio's death, Marcus's death, River's father, the destruction of the Red Hook office. My attack. He leans in, scanning the dates. I don't understand. Look at the secondary column, the one marked ER movements. His body goes very still. Enzo. Enzo was in Miami the day before Antonio died, at Castellano Industries the day before River's father fell, in Marcus's neighborhood the day before his accident. I pull up another document, and 3 days before I was attacked, he made a call to a burner phone that pinged off the same tower as the phone that texted Viktor Kozlov. That's circumstantial. Maybe. But this isn't. I show him the bank records. Regular deposits from shell companies linked to Ghost Protocol. Payments that coincide with major intelligence leaks in your organization. Shipments that got intercepted. Raids that somehow always missed the real product. Danilo's hand grips the edge of the desk, knuckles white. Where did you get these? Your tech specialist left his laptop unlocked. I got curious. I meet his eyes. Enzo's been selling you out for years, Danilo. He's the mole. He's been Ghost Protocol's inside man this whole time. The silence that follows is suffocating. I watch emotions flicker across Danilo's face: disbelief, rage, something that looks like grief. No. His voice is flat. Enzo's been with me since the beginning. He was Antonio's friend. He helped me build this organization from nothing. He's family. Family betrays you hardest. I stand, forcing him to look at me. I know this is hard. I know you don't want to believe it. But the evidence is right here. Evidence can be fabricated. Not like this. Not across 2 years. Multiple sources. Financial records that trace back to accounts he controls. I pull up one more document, the smoking gun I've been saving. And then there's this. It's a recording. Audio only. I'd found it buried in Antonio's files, one of the last things he'd saved before he died. I press play. Antonio's voice. Telling you, someone inside Danilo's organization is feeding information to Ghost Protocol. I've traced 3 leaks back to the same source. A woman's voice I don't recognize. Can you prove it? Not yet, but I'm close. I just need to. Papers rustling. Shit, someone's here. I have to go. Sophia, if anything happens to me, make sure Danilo gets this file. Tell him to look at. The recording cuts off. Danilo stares at the laptop like it might bite him. Antonio knew. He was trying to tell me, and his voice cracks. I told him to drop it. I said his paranoia was going to get him killed. It wasn't paranoia. It was right. I closed the laptop. Enzo found out Antonio was investigating him. So he arranged the accident, made it look like ghost protocol silencing a journalist when really, it was self-preservation. You're saying Enzo killed my brother. I'm saying Enzo has killed everyone who got close to the truth. Antonio, Marcus, River's father. And he would have killed me too, if you hadn't found me first. I take a breath. He's been using your resources, your protection, your family loyalty to shield himself while he destroys you from the inside. This whole war with the Albanians, the attack on me, all of it was designed to distract you, to make you look outward while he worked inward. Danilo moves to the window, stares out at the pre-dawn darkness. When he finally speaks, his voice is empty. Enzo's daughter is my goddaughter. I was at her baptism, her first communion, her high school graduation. I know. His wife makes me dinner every Sunday, has for 10 years. I know. If you're wrong about this, if I move against him based on circumstantial evidence and financial records that could have been manipulated, I destroy a family. I become the monster everyone already thinks I am. I cross to stand beside him. And if I'm right, if you do nothing, he'll keep selling you out until Ghost Protocol has everything they need to eliminate you completely. You, your grandmother, everyone in your organization who's actually loyal. I wait until he looks at me. Enzo didn't just betray you, Danilo. He killed your brother. And he tried to kill me because I was getting too close to the truth. His hand finds mine just for a moment. Warm, solid, human. If you're wrong, you die with him. That's how this works in my world. You accuse someone at that level, you'd better be prepared to stake your life on it. I don't flinch. Then you'd better hope I'm right. Something shifts in his expression. Not quite a smile. More like recognition. You're not afraid of me. I'm terrified of you. But I'm more afraid of letting Marcus's killer walk free. I squeeze his hand once, then release it. Your choice, Danilo, but make it fast. Because if Enzo suspects I'm onto him, we're both dead by morning. The sun is rising when Danilo makes his decision. He calls a meeting. Not at the warehouse, too obvious. At his grandmother's house, the brownstone in Brooklyn Heights where we've been staying. Neutral ground. Enzo arrives at 7 a.m., looking annoyed at the early summons. He's in his late 40s, stocky, with graying hair and the kind of face that looks trustworthy. Kind, even. The face of someone you'd ask for directions or loan money to without hesitation. Boss. He nods to Danilo, then sees me. Something flickers in his eyes too fast to identify. Miss Gray. Didn't expect to see you here. Sit down, Enzo. Danilo's voice is carefully neutral. We need to talk. About what? The Albanian situation? Because I've got good news, Victor broke. Gave us 3 names, 2 locations, and about Antonio. Enzo goes very still. What about him? I've been going through his files. The investigation he was working on before he died. Danilo pours 3 glasses of whiskey even though it's 7 in the morning. He was looking into a mole. Someone inside my organization feeding information to Ghost Protocol. I remember. Kid was paranoid toward the end. Seeing conspiracies everywhere. Was he? Danilo slides a glass across the table to Enzo. Or was he right? Boss, I don't understand. Financial records show someone in my organization has been receiving regular payments from shell companies linked to Ghost Protocol. Large payments. The kind that suggest high-level intelligence sharing. Enzo's face remains carefully neutral, but I see his jaw tighten. Who? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Danilo takes a sip of whiskey. The accounts are well hidden. Rooted through multiple layers of protection. But my tech specialist has been working on it all night. Should have a name by this afternoon. It's a bluff. We already know it's Enzo. But Danilo's giving him a chance to confess, to explain, to do something other than lie. Good, Enzo says. Because a mole at that level, that's a death sentence. No trial, no questions, just disappeared. Exactly. Danilo's eyes are flat, empty. Which is why I need to be absolutely certain before I move. Can't afford mistakes with something like this. Smart. So why am I here? Because you've been with me longest. Know the organization inside and out. If there's a mole, you'd be able to spot the patterns, the inconsistencies. Danilo pulls out his phone. I want you to look at this timeline. See if anything jumps out. He shows Enzo my spreadsheet, the one correlating events with ER movements. I watch Enzo's face carefully as he scans it. Watch for the moment recognition hits. The moment he realizes we know. There. A tightening around his eyes. A slight pause in his breathing. This is... Enzo hands the phone back. This is thorough. Who compiled it? Miss Gray. Danilo doesn't look at me. Turns out having a journalist on staff has its advantages. Fresh eyes, different perspective. Right. Enzo stands. Look, I'll go through my own records, see if I can correlate anything useful. But boss, if there's really a mole this deep, we need to move carefully. They'll be watching for any sign we're onto them. Already ahead of you. Danilo stands too. In fact, I've already moved, about 3 hours ago. Enzo freezes. What? I froze the accounts. All of them. Every shell company, every offshore holding, every payment channel we've identified. Danilo's smile doesn't reach his eyes, which means whoever's been receiving those Ghost Protocol payments, they just got cut off, and they're probably realizing it right about now. The color drains from Enzo's face. Boss, funny thing about freezing accounts, you can see who tries to access them when they stop working, who panics, who makes desperate calls to their handlers asking what went wrong. Danilo, your phone rang twice in the last 30 seconds. While we've been talking, Danilo tilts his head. Aren't you going to check it? Enzo's hand moves toward his pocket, then stops. He knows that whatever's on that phone will confirm everything. How long? Danilo's voice has gone cold. Deadly. How long have you been selling me out? It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. Because right now, I'm thinking you killed my brother. Killed Marcus Gray. Killed everyone who got close to the truth about Ghost Protocol. Killed them using my resources, my protection, my trust. Antonio was going to expose everything. He didn't understand the organization. The reach Ghost Protocol has, they would have killed all of us. I made a deal to protect you. By murdering my brother? Danilo's control cracks. By making me believe it was an accident for 2 years while you kept feeding them information? I didn't have a choice. Enzo's voice rises. They came to me first. Said they knew about the operations, the money laundering, all of it. Said they'd dismantle everything unless I cooperated. I did it to save you. You did it to save yourself. I speak for the first time. You could have gone to Danilo, warned him, found another way. Instead, you became Ghost Protocol's most valuable asset, an inside man in one of the biggest criminal organizations in New York. Enzo's eyes land on me, and there's pure hatred there. This is your fault, you and your brother, poking around in things you don't understand. Marcus wouldn't stop, kept digging, kept asking questions. I tried to warn him off, sent messages, made threats, but he wouldn't listen. So you killed him. I protected my family. My daughter, my wife. Ghost Protocol said if I didn't handle the Marcus problem, they'd handle it their way. And their way included collateral damage. My brother wasn't a problem. He was a person. My voice shakes. And you murdered him to protect your own skin. I murdered him to keep Ghost Protocol from killing a dozen people. Enzo turns back to Danilo. You don't understand how deep this goes. Who's involved? If Antonio had published his investigation, if Marcus had broken his story, if River's father had testified, it wouldn't have brought down Ghost Protocol. It would have brought down everyone. Including you. Danilo pulls out a gun, the same one he used on Cole, aims it steadily at Enzo's chest. Give me one reason not to kill you right now. Because I have evidence. Names. Financial records. Everything you need to actually destroy Ghost Protocol instead of just pissing them off. Enzo's breathing is ragged. Kill me, and it dies with me. Let me live, and I'll give you everything. I'll testify. I'll cooperate. You'll say anything to stay alive. Danilo's finger moves to the trigger. Just like you've been lying for 2 years. Wait. I step forward, hand on Danilo's arm. Not pulling the gun away, just connecting. Don't. He looks at me like I've lost my mind. He killed your brother. I know. And I want him to pay for it. But not like this. I meet Enzo's terrified eyes. If you kill him, we lose any chance of destroying Ghost Protocol. We lose the names, the evidence, everything. He dies, and Ghost Protocol wins. So what? We trust him? Danilo's laugh is ugly. Let him walk after what he's done? No. We use him. Make him give us everything he has. Then we turn him over to whoever can do the most damage. Feds, journalists, whoever. Let him live long enough to watch everything he protected fall apart. Danilo stares at me for a long moment. Then slowly, he lowers the gun. You have 24 hours, he says to Enzo. Every name, every account, every piece of evidence you have about Ghost Protocol. And Enzo? He steps closer. If you try to run, if you try to warn them, if you do anything except exactly what we tell you, I won't kill you quick. I'll make sure you spend your last hours wishing you'd taken the bullet today. Enzo nods, trembling. Understood. Marco, Danilo calls. The door opens immediately. Marco's been waiting outside the whole time. Take him to the secondary location. Full lockdown. No calls, no visitors, no contact with anyone, and if he so much as looks at a phone, break his fingers. Yes, boss. As Marco leads Enzo out, the man who murdered my brother looks back at me. You should have let him kill me. What's coming? Death would be kinder. Then he's gone. I sink into a chair, shaking. Not from fear, from the terrible weight of finally knowing the truth, finally having proof of who killed Marcus and why, and from the realization that I just saved his life. Danilo sits across from me, the gun still in his hand. You're either very smart or very naive. Maybe both. I look up at him. But I meant what I said. If we kill Enzo, Ghost Protocol wins. They lose one asset, but keep the rest of their network intact. But if we flip him, use his evidence, we might actually destroy them. Danilo sets down the gun. You know he'll try to escape. Or kill himself. Men like Enzo don't cooperate. Not really. Then we make sure he doesn't have the chance. And when Ghost Protocol realizes he's been compromised? When they come for us? Then we'd better be ready. I stand, legs unsteady. Because this is it, Danilo. This is the moment we either finish what Antonio and Marcus started, or we run and hide for the rest of our lives. Your choice. He studies me, really studies me for the first time since we met. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone breakable, someone who'd crumble under pressure? He stands too. Instead, you walked into an interrogation, watched me execute a man, accused my right-hand man of murder, and just convinced me to keep my worst enemy alive to serve a greater purpose. He moves closer. You're either going to save us all, or get us all killed. Guess we'll find out which. The space between us feels charged, dangerous, like standing too close to a live wire. And for the first time, I acknowledge what's been building since that first night in the clinic. I'm not just working with Danilo Moretti anymore. I'm falling for him. And that might be the most dangerous thing of all. The storm comes 3 days later. Not a gentle rain, but the kind of downpour that turns streets into rivers and makes the city feel like it's drowning. The kind of night when smart people stay inside. The kind of night I was attacked. I stand at the window of Danilo's study, watching water stream down the glass, and try not to think about alleys and footsteps and the metallic taste of blood in my mouth. Try not to remember the feeling of pavement against my cheek, cold and wet and final. Behind me, Danilo is on the phone, his third call in the last hour. All of them variations on the same theme. Lockdown, verification, trust no one. Enzo broke 12 hours ago. Not physically, though. Marco's methods were persuasive enough. He broke mentally, realized that staying silent meant death, but talking might mean protection. Witness protection, maybe. A new life somewhere Ghost Protocol couldn't reach. So he talked. Names spilled out like a confession. Financial records. Meeting locations. The entire structure of Ghost Protocol's network in New York. And at the center of it all, the person I'd suspected but couldn't prove. River Castellano's head of security. A man named Thomas Vance who'd been feeding information to Ghost Protocol for 5 years. Who'd been present when River's father died. Who'd known about the Red Hook office and destroyed it. Who'd coordinated my attack through Enzo, using me as bait to distract both Danilo and River. River didn't know. His own security chief had been compromised, and he'd never suspected, just like Danilo never suspected Enzo. Ghost Protocol's greatest weapon isn't violence, it's patience. The slow infiltration of organizations until they're rotted from within. We move tonight. Danilo ends his call and crosses to the window. Vance is meeting with his Ghost Protocol handler at midnight. Warehouse in Red Hook, not the same one as my father's office. Somewhere they think is secure. How do you know? Because Enzo told us. And because I've had Marco watching Vance's movements since we confirmed his identity. He's following the pattern exactly as Enzo described. I turn to face him. What's the plan? The plan is you stay here where it's safe. Absolutely not. Avery. He coordinated the attack on me. He's the reason Marcus died. I'm not staying behind while you handle this. I cross my arms despite the protest from my still healing ribs. Besides, you need me there. Why would I need you there? Because River's coming. I called him 2 hours ago, told him about Vance. He has a right to know his organization was compromised. His father was murdered by someone he trusted. I meet Danilo's dark eyes. And if River and you are both there, maybe we can finally convince you to work together instead of against each other. I don't work with Castellano. You're going to have to. Ghost Protocol is bigger than both of you. You can't take them down alone. Danilo stares at me for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he laughs. You're impossible, I've been told. If I let you come, and that's a big if you stay in the car. You don't enter the warehouse. You don't engage. You observe and you survive. Understood? Understood. It's a lie, and we both know it. But he doesn't call me on it. The warehouse is the same one where Danilo interrogated Cole, where I watched him execute a man without hesitation, where I first understood exactly what kind of person I'd allied myself with. We arrive at 11:30. The rain is relentless, turning the industrial street into a landscape of shadows and reflected streetlights. Danilo's car parks 2 blocks away, engine running, Marco at the wheel. Status? Danilo says into his phone. Vance arrived 10 minutes ago. Someone responds. Meeting with 2 unknowns. 1 male, 1 female. No visible weapons, but assume armed. And Castellano? En route. ETA 3 minutes. Danilo pockets his phone and checks his gun, the same one he used on Cole, on Enzo. The one that's ended how many lives in service of his empire. You're thinking too loud, he says without looking at me. I'm thinking about how we got here. How my brother's investigation led to his death, which led to me taking a job at Castellano Industries, which led to an alley and you in all of this. I gesture at the rain-soaked street. If Marcus had just dropped it, he'd still be dead, just later. Ghost Protocol doesn't forgive investigation, even when people stop. Danilo finally looks at me. Your brother made the choice to pursue truth over safety. That's admirable. Stupid, but admirable. Is that what you think I'm doing? Being stupid? I think you're brave, which is often the same thing. He touches my face briefly, just his fingers against my cheek, warm despite the cold. Stay in the car, Avery. Please. I can't. He stops, jaw tightening. Just stay. Then he's out, moving through the rain with Marco and 2 other men I don't recognize, disappearing into the shadows toward the warehouse. I last exactly 90 seconds before I follow. The warehouse door is unlocked, they must have picked it. Inside, the space is cavernous. Industrial lighting casts everything in harsh shadows, and in the center, under a section of collapsed roof where rain pours through, stand 4 people. Thomas Vance, mid-40s, former military, the kind of face that blends into crowds. 2 others I don't recognize, the Ghost Protocol handlers, I assume, and Enzo Ricci, zip-tied to a metal support beam, bleeding from his mouth. Danilo stands 15 feet away, gun drawn. Marco flanks him on one side. On the other, River Castellano, also armed, looking like he's aged 10 years in the past week. Gentlemen. Vance's voice is calm. Professional. This is unnecessary. We can resolve this like civilized people. You murdered my father. River's gun doesn't waver. Civilized is off the table. Your father was going to expose an operation that employs thousands of people, generates billions in revenue, keeps entire economies functioning. Vance spreads his hands. His death was regrettable but necessary. And Marcus Gray? I step out of the shadows before I can stop myself. 3 guns immediately swing toward me. Vance's handlers, both armed. Was his death regrettable too? Avery, what the fuck? River starts. She asked a good question. Danilo's voice is ice. Let her hear the answer. Vance looks at me like I'm an insect. Interesting, but ultimately inconsequential. Marcus Gray was collateral damage. He was investigating Castellano Industries, but he stumbled onto Ghost Protocol in the process. We couldn't allow that. So you had him killed. I arranged for him to have an accident. There's a difference. The casual way he says it, like Marcus's life was just a line item in a budget report, makes rage flood through me. And me? Was I collateral damage too? You were bait. A way to start a war between Moretti and Castellano while we cleaned up evidence and consolidated power. Vance shrugs. Obviously it didn't work as planned. You proved more resilient than expected. She proved you're a fucking amateur. Danilo takes a step forward. Thinking you could manipulate me by hurting an innocent woman. Thinking I wouldn't figure out Enzo was compromised. Thinking Ghost Protocol is untouchable. Ghost Protocol is untouchable. We've survived for 30 years. Outlasted investigations, prosecutions, attempts to shut us down. We'll survive this too. Vance nods to his companions. In fact, we already have. By tomorrow morning, both Moretti and Castellano organizations will be dismantled. Your assets frozen. Your people arrested. And you'll either be dead or wishing you were. Bold claim. River's voice is steady despite the rain streaming down his face. Want to explain how? Because we own the prosecutors, the judges, the federal agents investigating both of you. Vance smiles. You think you've been operating independently all this time? We've allowed it. Permitted your existence because you were useful. But now your liabilities, and Ghost Protocol doesn't keep liabilities on the books. The warehouse door crashes open. Men flood in, at least a dozen, all armed, moving with military precision. Not Danilo's people, not River's. Federal agents in tactical gear, weapons drawn, shouting commands. FBI, drop your weapons, on the ground now. For a moment, everything freezes. Then chaos. Danilo moves first, grabbing my arm and pulling me behind a support beam as gunfire erupts. River dives left, returning fire. Marco goes down. I see blood bloom across his shoulder before he crawls behind cover. Vance's handlers are shooting at the federal agents, who are shooting back, and somewhere in the middle of it all, Enzo is screaming, still zip-tied to the beam, completely exposed. "We need to move," Danilo shouts over the gunfire. "Back exit now." "What about Enzo?" "Fuck Enzo." But I'm already running. Stupid. Suicidal. But I can't just leave him there to die, not before he testifies. Not before Ghost Protocol pays for what they've done. I reach Enzo just as one of Vance's handlers swings his gun toward me. I freeze, knowing I'm dead. When the shot comes from behind me, the handler drops. River appears at my side, already pulling a knife to cut Enzo's zip ties. "You're either very brave or very stupid. I've been told." I help support Enzo's weight as River cuts him free. "We need to." The explosion is deafening. The warehouse's far wall erupts in flames and smoke. More men pouring in, not feds this time, but Danilo's people, heavily armed, creating an exit corridor through the chaos. "Go." Danilo's hand finds mine. "Move, now." We run. Me, River, Enzo supported between us, Danilo and his remaining men providing cover. Behind us, the warehouse is a war zone. Gunfire, shouting, the smell of cordite and blood. We burst into the rain, and cars are waiting. Danilo shoves me into one, River and Enzo into another. "Drive," Danilo shouts. "Don't stop until you hit the safe house in Queens." The cars peel out just as the warehouse behind us erupts in a second, larger explosion. I watch through the rear window as flames reach toward the sky, rain trying and failing to contain them. "What the fuck was that?" I gasp. "That," Danilo says grimly, "was Ghost Protocol trying to kill everyone who knows too much. The feds weren't there to arrest us. They were there to execute us and blame it on a shootout." "How did you know?" "I didn't, but I prepared for it anyway. He's on his phone already. Marco's hit but alive. 3 of my men are down. Vance and his handlers are dead, caught in the explosion. And we have Enzo? Is that a win?" "It's survival, which right now is the best we can hope for." The safe house is a nondescript building in Astoria. We're rushed inside. Me, Danilo, River, Marco being helped by 2 men, and Enzo, who looks like he's been through hell and back. In a surprisingly nice living room, the 3 of us finally face each other. Danilo, River, and me. The criminal, the tech mogul, and the journalist's sister, united by circumstance and survival. "We need to talk," River says. "Yes," Danilo agrees. "We do." They both look at me. "Ghost Protocol just tried to kill all of us," I say. "That means they're scared. Means Enzo's information is real and damaging. We can use this." "Use it how?" River asks. "By doing what Marcus and Antonio and your father tried to do. Expose them. Publicly. Undeniably." I pull out my phone, miraculously undamaged. Enzo gave us names, financial records, meeting locations. Everything we need to build a case. "A case requires law enforcement," Danilo says. "And we just established Ghost Protocol owns law enforcement. Not all of it. There are still good people. People who became agents and prosecutors because they believe in justice. I look between them. We find those people. We give them everything. And we make enough noise that Ghost Protocol can't silence it all. That's suicide," River says flatly. "Maybe. But what's the alternative? Hide forever? Wait for them to kill us one by one?" I stand, despite my exhaustion, despite the adrenaline crash making my hands shake. "Marcus died investigating this. Antonio died. Your father died. How many more people have to die before we say enough?" The silence that follows is heavy. Then Danilo laughs, bitter and exhausted. "She's right. Christ help us, but she's right." "You're agreeing with her?" River sounds shocked. "You have a better plan?" "I have several better plans, all of them involving getting as far from New York as possible. And that's why you'll never beat them. Because you run when things get hard." Danilo's voice is hard. "My brother didn't run. Her brother didn't run. Your father didn't run. They stayed and fought, even knowing it would kill them. And it did kill them." River's control snaps. "It killed all of them. And now you want to follow them into the grave? For what? Justice? There is no justice when the system is rigged." Then we unrig it. I step between them. Look, I'm not asking you to be friends. I'm not even asking you to trust each other. But for the next 48 hours, can you both agree that destroying Ghost Protocol matters more than your grudges? They stare at each other across the room. Two powerful men who've spent years as rivals, forced by circumstance into alliance. 48 hours, River says finally. 48 hours, Danilo agrees. It's not much, but it's a start. Later, much later, after River's left to coordinate with his people, after Enzo's been locked in a bedroom under guard, after the adrenaline has worn off and left me hollow, I find Danilo on the roof. He's standing in the rain because, of course, the storm hasn't stopped staring at the Queen's skyline like it holds answers. You should be resting, he says without turning around. So should you. I don't rest anymore. Haven't really, since Antonio died. I move to stand beside him, let the rain soak through my clothes. We're going to win this. Ghost Protocol, Vance, all of it. We're going to finish what they started. You don't know that. I have to believe it. Otherwise, what's the point? He finally looks at me, and there's something raw in his expression. Something I've never seen before. You asked me once what happened to people who ask too many questions, he says quietly. The answer is they die. Or they become something else. Something harder, colder, more willing to cross lines they swore they'd never cross. Is that what happened to you? Every single day, his hand finds mine. But you're still fighting to stay good, to do this the right way, and I'm terrified that being around me is going to destroy that, is going to turn you into what I am. And what are you? A monster who kills people to protect what's his. I should pull away, should be horrified. Instead, I step closer. Then I'm a journalist who works with monsters. Guess we're both compromised. Avery. I'm not asking for promises. I'm not asking for forever. I'm just asking for tonight. I reach up, touch his face. Because tomorrow we go to war. And I need to remember what I'm fighting for. He kisses me like a man drowning, desperate, consuming. And I kiss him back, tasting rain and smoke, and something that might be hope or might be goodbye. When we finally break apart, the city stretches below us. 8 million people who don't know their world is about to change. But we know. And we're ready. The city burns at sunrise. Not literally, though. There are fires. 3 warehouses in Red Hook, 2 in Brooklyn, 1 in the Bronx that the news will later call gang-related violence because that's easier than admitting the truth. Ghost Protocol is bleeding. I watch it happen from Danilo's office in the safe house. No, not safe house anymore. Command center. War room. The place where he spent the last 18 hours orchestrating the systematic dismantling of an organization that's existed for 3 decades. The screens show it all. Security footage, news feeds, encrypted communications. His tech specialist intercepts and decodes in real time. Names crossed off lists. Assets frozen. People who thought they were untouchable suddenly running scared. River's been here twice. First to coordinate the release of evidence to 3 different news outlets, ones Enzo confirmed weren't compromised. Then to inform us that Thomas Vance's death made the morning news. Killed in warehouse explosion during federal raid gone wrong. The official story. The lie that covers the truth. Marco's shoulder is bandaged, but he's back at work, moving pieces on Danilo's chessboard with the efficiency of someone who's done this 100 times before. And Enzo's in federal custody. Real custody this time, not Ghost Protocol's version. River pulled strings, called in favors from the few prosecutors he trusts. By noon, Enzo will be testifying before a grand jury. By evening, warrants will be issued. It's working. Against all odds, the impossible plan is actually working. But the man who orchestrated it all sits at his desk, staring at the Manhattan skyline like he's watching a funeral. Boss. Marco appears in the doorway. Last update came through. The Albany connection confirmed. We've got 3 state senators, 2 judges, and the deputy commissioner on record taking Ghost Protocol money. Send it to the journalists. All of it. Danilo's voice is flat, empty. Make sure they have enough to run the story without needing our testimony. Already done. They're publishing at noon. Marco hesitates. It's over, boss. We won. Did we? Danilo finally looks away from the window. Count the bodies, Marco. Tell me what we won. Marco's expression tightens, but he doesn't answer. Just nods and leaves, closing the door quietly behind him. I've been standing in the corner for the past hour, watching, cataloging, trying to understand the man who saved my life and then burned down half the city to protect me. You should eat something, I say quietly. Not hungry. You should sleep then. Can't. Danilo. 3 of my men are dead, Avery. Good men. Men with families, with kids who'll grow up without fathers because I ordered them into a warehouse that I knew might explode. He stands, moves back to the window. That's what winning looks like in my world. Acceptable losses. Collateral damage. I cross to stand beside him. Below, Queens is waking up. Normal people heading to normal jobs, living normal lives that don't include orchestrating the downfall of criminal empires. You saved more people than you lost, I say. That's not how it works. You don't get to balance the scales like that. Every person who dies because of me, that's a weight I carry. Forever. He looks at me then, really looks at me, and I see the exhaustion in his dark eyes, the toll this has taken. Your brother carried that weight too. Antonio, my father. Everyone who fights for justice eventually drowns in the cost of it. Is that why you're sitting here instead of celebrating? Because you feel guilty for winning? I feel guilty for enjoying it. His voice drops. When Vance died in that explosion, when I got confirmation he was dead, I was glad. Relieved. And that makes me exactly what everyone already thinks I am. It makes you human. He tried to kill us. Multiple times. Being glad he's dead doesn't make you a monster. Doesn't make me good either. We stand in silence, watching dawn spread across the skyline, golden light touching glass towers, pushing back the darkness one building at a time. I know everything now, I say finally. About Enzo. About how long you suspected him but couldn't prove it. About how you used my investigation as cover to build your own case against Ghost Protocol. I turn to face him. About how you saved me that night even though you didn't have to. Could have let me die. Let it be one less complication. That's not. But you didn't. You pulled me out of that alley, put me in your clinic, kept me safe, even when it would have been easier to let me go. I take a breath. Why? Danilo's jaw tightens. You know why? Say it anyway. Because the moment I saw you lying there, bleeding, wearing that logo, I saw Antonio. Saw every journalist who died asking questions that needed answers. Saw every person who chose truth over safety and paid for it. His hand finds mine. And I couldn't let another one die. Not when I had the power to stop it. That's not the whole truth. No. His thumb traces circles on my palm. The whole truth is I looked at you and saw someone brave enough to walk into danger for answers. Someone who'd spent 3 months building a cover, taking a job, playing invisible just to find out who killed her brother. Someone who reminded me what it's like to care about something more than survival. Danilo, you can still walk away. He says it quickly, like he's been holding the words back for days. Right now. Pack your things, go back to your apartment, your normal life. River will make sure you're protected. The evidence is out. Ghost Protocol's too busy protecting themselves to come after you. You're free, Avery. You can leave. I should. I know I should. This world, Danilo's world, it's violence and darkness, and lines cross so many times you can't see them anymore. It's watching men die and feeling satisfied about it. It's becoming something your brother wouldn't recognize. But when I think about leaving, about going back to my apartment and my civilian life, all I feel is empty. You already know I won't, I say. Something shifts in his expression. Why? Because 3 weeks ago, I was invisible. A ghost in River Castellano's office, in my own life, in a city that didn't see me, and then you found me in an alley, and suddenly I was real again, seen, important enough to save. I step closer. You asked me once what I was looking for. The truth about Marcus, I said, but that wasn't all of it. What else? Purpose. A reason to keep fighting when everything felt meaningless. And I found it. I reach up, touch his face. I found it in you, in this impossible alliance, in the idea that maybe good people and bad people can work together to do something that matters. I'm not good people, Avery. I'm not sure I am anymore either. I've lied, stolen, worked with criminals, watched people die without trying to stop it. I've crossed every line I swore I wouldn't. I meet his eyes. But we stopped Ghost Protocol. We exposed corruption that's existed for decades. We finished what Marcus and Antonio and River's father started. That has to count for something. And tomorrow, when the news breaks and everyone knows what we did, when prosecutors start asking questions and federal agents come looking for testimony, his hand covers mine against his cheek. What happens when the city realizes the monster who brought down Ghost Protocol is still a monster? Then we deal with it. Together. Together. He repeats the word like he's testing its weight. You understand what that means? Being with me? The danger, the scrutiny, the fact that I have enemies who'd kill you just to hurt me? I walked into a warehouse during a gunfight to save Enzo Ricci. I think I understand danger pretty well by now. Despite everything, he almost smiles. You're insane. Probably. But I'm your kind of insane. He pulls me closer, gentle despite his strength, like he's still afraid I might break. I don't know how to do this, how to be what you deserve. Good thing I'm not asking you to be anything except what you are. And what am I? A man who saved my life, who listened when I showed him evidence against someone he loved, who burned down half the city to protect people he barely knew. I lean into him. A man who spent 2 years trying to avenge his brother and finally succeeded. At what cost? Does it matter? Antonio's death meant something now. So does Marcus's. So does your father's. They didn't die for nothing. They died because they got too close to the truth. And we made sure the truth got out anyway. Danilo's forehead rests against mine. You make it sound noble, like we're heroes in some story. Maybe we are. Or maybe we're just two broken people who found each other in the wreckage and decided to stop breaking alone. Avery. Don't. I cut him off. Don't tell me all the reasons this won't work. Don't list the dangers or complications or impossible odds. I know them. I've lived them. And I'm still here. Why? Because when I'm with you, I don't feel invisible anymore. I feel seen, real, like I matter. I pull back enough to look at him properly. And because somewhere between the clinic and the brownstone and last night on that roof, I fell in love with you. The real you. Not the monster everyone fears. The man who keeps his grandmother's house full of books and makes sure his men's families are protected and carries the weight of every death like it's personal. The silence that follows is deafening. I watch emotions flicker across Danilo's face. Disbelief, hope, something that looks like fear. You can't love me, he says finally. I know exactly what you are, and I love you anyway. He kisses me then, not desperate like last night on the roof, but slow, deliberate, like he's memorizing the moment. When we break apart, his eyes are bright with something that might be tears. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me now. Avery. His voice cracks. I love you. Cristo. I've loved you since you stood in front of me in the clinic and refused to be intimidated. Since you called me out on my bullshit and demanded answers. Since you walked into danger without hesitation because you believed it mattered. He cups my face in his hands. I love you, and it terrifies me. Because everyone I love ends up dead or broken, and I can't lose you too. You won't. You don't know that. No. But I know that hiding from life because you're afraid of losing it isn't living. Marcus taught me that. He chose truth over safety, investigation over ignorance, even knowing it might kill him. I cover his hands with mine, and he'd tell me I'm an idiot for falling for a criminal, but he'd also understand why. Why? Because you're fighting for the same thing he was. Justice. Truth. Making sure the powerful can't hurt the powerless without consequences. I smile despite the tears on my cheeks. You're just using different methods. Illegal methods. Effective methods. Dawn breaks fully now, golden light flooding the office. Below, the city continues its routine traffic building. People heading to work. Life going on like the world didn't almost end last night. But we know different. We know that beneath the normal surface, something shifted. Ghost protocol exposed. Corruption revealed. A network that thought itself untouchable brought down by an impossible alliance between a crime lord, a tech mogul, and a journalist's sister. What happens now? I ask. Now? Danilo looks at the skyline, at his city, at the empire he's built and defended. Now we prepare for fallout. Ghost Protocol's leadership is still out there, the real power behind the throne. They'll retaliate, rebuild, come for us eventually. Sounds like job security. He laughs, actually laughs, and some of the darkness lifts from his expression. You're impossible. You've mentioned. And stubborn. That too. And mine. He pulls me close again. If you're really doing this, you need to understand. I'm possessive. Protective to the point of suffocating. I'll have men watching you constantly. I'll know where you are, who you're with, what you're doing. It's not romantic. It's survival. I can live with that. And I'm not reforming. I'm not suddenly going legitimate because we took down Ghost Protocol. This is what I am, what I do. The violence, the illegal operations, all of it. That doesn't change. I'm not asking it to. But, Danilo. I cut him off. I walked into this with my eyes open. I knew what you were the moment Marco drove me to that warehouse. I've watched you kill, watched you order violence, watched you operate with a ruthlessness that should horrify me. I meet his eyes, and I chose to stay anyway, so stop trying to scare me off. It's not going to work. He stares at me for a long moment. Then he kisses my forehead, gentle and reverent. Ti amo, he whispers. Dio mi aiuti, but ti amo. I love you too. I don't know much Italian, but I know those words. Even if you are a terrifying crime lord, especially because I'm a terrifying crime lord. That too. We stand together as the sun rises fully, painting the city in shades of gold and amber. Somewhere out there, journalists are preparing stories that will shake foundations. Federal prosecutors are reviewing evidence that will end careers, and Ghost Protocol's remaining leadership is realizing that their empire isn't as secure as they thought. The war isn't over, not really, but we won the first battle, and somehow, in the chaos and violence and impossible odds, we found each other. We should sleep, Danilo says eventually. Both of us, before the world wakes up and realizes what we've done. Together? Always. He leads me to a bedroom I haven't seen before his room, I realize, seeing personal effects scattered around. Photos of Antonio, an old watch on the dresser, books stacked on the nightstand in Italian and English. We collapse onto the bed, fully clothed, exhausted beyond reason. He pulls me against him, and I fit perfectly in the curve of his body. Avery? His voice is already thick with sleep. Yeah? Thank you, for not giving up. On the investigation. On me. On any of it. Thank you for finding me that night. For seeing me when I thought I was invisible. You were never invisible. Not to me. I smile into the darkness. Liar. You didn't even know my name until after the attack. Didn't know your name. But I noticed you. His arm tightens around me. Every time you came into meetings with files for River, every time you walked past my men on the street, I noticed. That's slightly terrifying. I'm a terrifying person. We've established this. True. Sleep pulls at me, heavy and insistent. But before I go under completely, I whisper, Marcus would have liked you. If he'd known what you'd do to avenge him, he'd have liked you. I doubt that. I don't. You're exactly the kind of complicated, morally ambiguous person he found fascinating. Danilo's laugh rumbles through his chest. Sleep, amore. We have a war to fight when we wake up. Looking forward to it. And despite everything, the violence, the danger, the impossible situation we're in, I mean it. Because for the first time since Marcus died, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. In the arms of a monster who saved me. In a war I chose to fight. In a love that shouldn't exist but does anyway. Dawn breaks over the city. And somewhere between justice and vengeance, between safety and danger, between the person I was and the person I'm becoming, love takes root. Quiet. Stubborn. Inevitably. Just like everything else in this impossible story.